English Rise Podcast.
Easy listening and speaking practice. Welcome to the English Rise Podcast, easy English listening and speaking practice to help you build fluency and confidence. I'm Emma. Hey everyone, if you're waiting for the perfect place to learn English, you might be waiting forever. Because the best learners don't find the right environment, they create it. Today, we're talking about creating an English immersion environment, no matter where you live. And I'm thrilled to have Alex with me. Alex, welcome.
Thanks, Emma. Great to be here. Hi, everyone. I'm Alex, polyglot, learning coach, and longtime believer that immersion is more a mindset than a map. I build my own immersion environments in tiny apartments, noisy cafes, and weekends on trains. So, yeah, you can do this anywhere.
Okay. Let's start with a simple but powerful idea, the immersion mindset. Alex, why does the way you think about English matter more than where you are physically?
Because immersion begins with intention. If you treat English as a subject you open once a day for 40 minutes, it stays a subject. But if you start living parts of your day in English, your morning routine, your commute, your evening relax time, your brain starts to treat English as part of life. It's habit scaffolding. It changes the cues and rewards in your environment.
Right. And that shift from studying to living English, it's subtle but huge. I tell learners, start asking, how can I make my day revolve around English? Not everything, but small parts. Even just 5 minutes of narrating what you're doing in English can rewire your brain to think in English more often.
Exactly. And there's a psychological trick I use. Instead of I have to study English, say I choose to live parts of my day in English. That tiny language change reduces resistance. It's like turning a chore into an experiment. You become curious, and curiosity is a superpower for learning.
By the way, curiosity is also more fun. Okay, let's get practical. Digital optimization. This is low-hanging fruit. Alex, walk us through practical steps to make your phone and computer part of your immersion.
Start by switching your phone's language to English for parts you can handle, not everything at once. Set system language, then change one app at a time, your messaging app, social media, or even calendar. Then follow English language creators who genuinely interest you. Algorithms learn fast. The more you interact with English content, the more the platform serves it to you.
And don't underestimate the power of small settings. Change your keyboard to an English layout, set your weather app to English, turn on English subtitles on Netflix, even while you're listening to native audio. Those micro changes create constant exposure. I also encourage people to curate social feeds, unfollow accounts that don't help you, and follow 3 new English-speaking accounts each week.
A concrete tip. Create an English-only folder on your phone. Put 10 apps in there. News, a dictionary, a language learning app, a podcast player, a writing app. Make it the first folder on your home screen. You'll be surprised how often you open that folder out of habit.
Love that. Okay, creating a physical sanctuary. This is fun and tactile. How do we make our spaces trigger English thinking?
Labeling is incredibly effective. Sticky notes on common objects with quick phrases, not just single words. For example, on your kettle, I'm making tea. I'll be right back. That's silly but powerful. It forces phrase-level thinking. Then establish a dedicated workspace, even a corner of a table, with English-only items, a notebook titled English Journal, a pen you always use for English, maybe a small poster with an inspirational English quote.
Yes, and the key is to make the cues consistent. Place a small sign where you enter the room that says English Now, and switch on a particular playlist when you sit there. That auditory cue helps your brain flip into English mode. Also, use physical routines. Only drink coffee while reading an article in English, or only listen to English podcasts while cooking.
And don't overdo it. Start with one corner, one sticky note set, one habit. Build like a tiny house, room by room. People often try to flip their entire lives overnight and burn out. Instead, pick 3 anchors: digital, physical, and audio.
Speaking of audio, the power of audio anchors is huge. My listeners are busy people. How can they use podcasts, radio, and audiobooks as background noise effectively?
Audio anchors do 2 things: train the ear and build passive exposure. Pick different levels of active versus passive listening. For active sessions, listen and take notes, mimic sentences, pause, and shadow. For passive, put a podcast on while doing chores. Over time, you'll notice phrases and rhythms sticking without conscious effort. Rotate types of audio: news for formal language, fiction for narrative flow, interviews for natural speech.
I recommend a 3-tier audio plan. Morning, active short lesson, 10 to 15 minutes of focused listening with transcripts. Commute or chores, passive podcast or radio, lower effort, high repetition. Night, relaxing audiobook, something you enjoy. And remember, replay is gold. Hearing the same audio multiple times increases comprehension dramatically.
Tip: make a playlist of 30 to 60 minutes that you use daily. Over weeks, your brain will start predicting phrases. That predictability increases comprehension and speaking fluency.
Let's talk about building a virtual community. People need speaking practice. Alex, what are good ways to find language partners and practice speaking regularly?
Start with interest-based communities. If you love gardening, find an English language gardening forum or Discord. You'll naturally discuss topics you care about, which makes speaking easier. Then use language exchange platforms, but be intentional. Set 3 goals for each session. Don't just chat, structure it. 10 minutes news discussion, 10 minutes error correction, 10 minutes free talk. And consider paid tutors for weekly check-ins. Even 15 minutes a week keeps momentum.
Also, create a small accountability group, 2 to 3 peers who meet weekly to practice. Use a simple agenda. 1. Personal update, 2 minutes each. 2. Shared topic, 10 minutes. 3. A mini presentation or read aloud, 5 minutes. Feedback, 5 to 10 minutes. Rotating roles keeps it fresh. And if you're nervous about speaking, start with voice messages and apps like WhatsApp or Telegram. They're lower pressure than live calls.
And don't underestimate asynchronous voice practice. Post a short voice note in a forum and ask for feedback. You'll get corrections and the confidence grows. Also, try structured shadowing in a group. Everyone shadows the same 60-second clip and gets feedback on rhythm and intonation.
Micro habits for consistency. This is one of my favorite segments. Many listeners are juggling work and family. How do we integrate English into tiny moments?
Tiny habits win. Make it small enough you can't say no. For example, after you brush your teeth, narrate the next minute in English. Or every time you open the fridge, say 1 sentence about what you'll cook. Use the 2-minute rule. If it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. Apply this to language tasks. 2 minutes of vocabulary retrieval, 2 minutes of reading a news headline, 2 minutes of typing a short journal entry.
And micro habits scale. 5 minutes of focused speaking practice daily is better than a sporadic 2-hour binge. It compounds. Keep a simple log. Date, what you did, 1 sentence about progress. Small wins keep motivation high.
One practical micro habit I use, I set an hourly beep on my phone. When it goes off, I say a quick sentence summarizing my last hour in English. It's like flash reporting. It forces retrieval, grammar use, and speaking under low pressure.
Let's address the comfort zone. The fear of making mistakes is real. Most of our listeners feel this. How do we push through that fear in our own self-made environment?
Reframe mistakes as data, not failure. When you make an error, it's useful information about what you need to practice. Also, create a low-stakes playground, a private voice diary, or a mistake jar with trusted partners who gently correct you. Roleplay can help. Practice apologizing, ordering coffee, expressing opinions. Play with phrases until they feel natural. And remember, confidence comes from competence, and competence comes from repetition.
I tell learners to set failure experiments. Plan to make at least one mistake intentionally each week in a speaking exchange. It sounds crazy, but doing it reduces shame and normalizes imperfection. You'll realize the world keeps turning and people are more supportive than you expect.
Another tip, prepare a short error script. For example, I want to say this, sorry, I made a mistake, could you correct me? That script helps you handle mistakes gracefully and invites correction.
Curating your input? This is where many learners get lost in overwhelm. How do we choose content that's both motivating and level appropriate?
Quality over quantity. Pick content that sparks curiosity. For intermediate learners, aim for 70–80% comprehension. If it's too easy, you won't learn. Too hard, you'll get discouraged. Use graded readers, podcasts with transcripts, and subtitled videos. Follow interests, documentaries, cooking shows, tech talks, because engagement predicts consistency.
Also, use the three-corner rule. For any topic you enjoy, find 3 types of input: short, a tweet or headline; medium, a 5 to 10-minute article or podcast episode; and long, a documentary or book. That way, you encounter the vocabulary at different densities and contexts. It builds depth.
And personalize your feedback loop. Save new vocabulary in context, a sentence, not just a word. Use spaced repetition software for review, but use it with real sentences. And every week, pick one theme and create output. A short oral summary or a 150-word paragraph. The input-to-output cycle solidifies learning.
Tracking progress without a teacher can feel lonely. What self-assessment techniques do you recommend?
Record yourself regularly. Once a week, record a 2 to 3 minute monologue on a topic. After 3 months, compare recordings. You'll notice fluency, pronunciation, and confidence improvements. Use apps for vocabulary tracking, but also set measurable speaking goals. Hold a 10-minute conversation without switching to your native language, for example. And keep a mistake log. Recurring errors reveal targets for practice.
I also recommend milestone celebrations. When you hit a goal, say finishing a book or having a 15-minute conversation, celebrate. It reinforces motivation. And get external feedback occasionally. One session with a tutor to evaluate your recordings can provide direction without heavy costs.
Use rubrics. Create a simple self-rating scale for each recording. Pronunciation, 1 to 5. Grammar, 1 to 5, vocabulary range, 1 to 5, and overall confidence, 1 to 5. Over time, you'll see numbers change. It makes progress visible, which is huge for morale.
We've covered a lot. Let's do a rapid, practical toolkit. Quick, actionable items listeners can start today. Alex, you go first. Give us 5 things a listener can do in the next 24 hours.
Okay. 1. Switch one device to English. 2. Create an English folder on your phone and add 5 apps. 3. Record a 1-minute voice note summarizing your day in English. 4. Find and follow 2 English language accounts about your hobby. And 5. Schedule a 15-minute speaking session with a partner or tutor this week.
My 5. 1. Put sticky notes on 5 items in your room with full phrases, not just words. 2. Make a 30-minute playlist. Morning active lesson, commute podcast, night audiobook. 3. Write a 2-sentence failure experiment you'll try this week. 4. Join one English-speaking forum and post a short intro. 5. Record a 3-minute monologue and save it for comparison in a month.
Good. And one more tiny trick. Make an if-then plan. If you feel too tired to do a formal lesson, then do 2 minutes of shadowing. It keeps habit friction low.
Let's have a short interactive role play so listeners can hear a model of how to practice speaking. Alex, you'll be the conversation partner. I'll be the learner preparing to order coffee and ask for a recommendation. Ready?
Ready. Go ahead, Emma.
Hi, hello. Could I get a coffee, please? What do you recommend today?
Hi, sure. If you like something smooth, the house blend is popular. If you want something sweet, the caramel latte is a favorite. Do you prefer strong or mild?
I'd like something mild with a little sweetness. Also, do you have any pastries that go well with that?
Yes, the blueberry scone pairs nicely with the house blend, and the almond croissant is great with a caramel latte. Would you like to try one?
Yes, I'll have the house blend and the blueberry scone, please. And could you make the coffee a little less hot? I'll be drinking it slowly.
Of course. We can make it warm. Anything else?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Great. That was smooth. Listeners, practice this script with a partner or record both sides and listen to how natural you sound. Then swap roles.
Okay, before we wrap up, let's tackle one last thing. Motivation over the long term. How do you keep going when progress feels slow?
Reconnect to purpose. Ask why you want English. Is it for career, travel, connection? Visualize a concrete scene where you use English successfully. Then break that scene into skills, vocabulary for that context, phrases, pronunciation goals. Work a little on each. Also, vary your tasks to prevent boredom. And track wins, even the tiny ones, like understanding a joke or following a 10-minute podcast without pausing.
I'd add, make learning social and rewarding. Share wins with friends, teach someone a phrase, or make a playlist of your favorite English songs and dance to celebrate small milestones. Learning is a long game. Be kind to yourself. Every small step matters.
One final technical tip. Every month, pick one metric to focus on: pronunciation, fluency, vocabulary, and tailor practice to it. That focus helps you see measurable improvement instead of vague progress.
All right, we're coming to the end. Quick recap. Adopt the immersion mindset, optimize digitally, create a physical sanctuary, use audio anchors, build a virtual community, adopt micro habits, push past the comfort zone, curate input, and track progress. Tiny, consistent actions beat occasional marathons.
Exactly. Create small rituals, stay curious, and be patient. Immersion is a lifestyle shift, not a sprint. And you don't need permission. You can start today.
Thank you so much, Alex. This was packed with practical tips. Any final encouragement for our listeners?
Yes, remember, you're not waiting for the right place. You're the architect of your English environment. Build one that excites you, and you'll stick with it.
Beautiful. Thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, come back again and keep practicing with us. Try the 5 things we suggested in the next 24 hours and tell us how it goes. Record yourself, compare in a month, and you'll be amazed at the progress. We'll keep learning together. English Rise Podcast. Easy listening, better speaking. Rise higher. See you in the next episode. Bye.